Hi everyone, I'm Matthew Moniz and this is the iPhone 7 Plus, and I've been using it for a little bit over 48 hours. In fact, I actually had to chase down a UPS truck to get my iPhone on Friday night. Now with that being said, I'm going to talk about my first impressions, what I like and what I don't like so far, to keep you guys updated until I do my full review in the near future. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel for that and you have notifications turned on. So I'm going to start off with the things that I liked. And the first thing I like is the fact that the iPhone 7 Plus is now water resistant. Now notice how I didn't say waterproof. So what this basically means is if your phone gets wet from the rain, or if you accidentally drop it in a puddle, or if you're washing your hands and it slips in the sink, it's not going to break. What this doesn't mean is that you can take it to the pool, swim with it, or take it to the beach and swim with it in the ocean. It's IP67 certified, so that means the phone can't be submerged more than 1 meter underwater. So the second thing that I really like about the new iPhone 7 and 7 Plus is the fact that it now has stereo speakers. See, on previous iPhones, you only had one speaker on the bottom. But what Apple did is they took the earpiece and turned it into a speaker-earpiece combo. So you're gonna get front-facing speakers and speakers from the bottom like you did previously. Now in terms of sound quality, it sounds much better than a mono speaker, but it doesn't sound as good as, let's say, having two front-facing speakers like on the Idol 4S or ZTE Axon 7. The next thing I really like about the new iPhone is the new home button. Now I know a lot of people out there are saying they prefer physical buttons, and I do to a certain degree, but the new home button, even though it's capacitive, still works really well. So what Apple did is, instead of using a physical one, they put a capacitive button, and underneath it is a taptic engine that works and functions similar to 3D Touch. So the fourth thing I want to mention is iOS 10 and Apple's new A10 Fusion chip. Now iOS 10 is probably the most important thing out of all the announcements and things being released by Apple in the past couple of months. It's such a great update, it brings so much, and even though some of it's copied from Android like the new widgets, it just makes the overall experience a lot better. There's also no more slide to unlock. In fact, Apple got rid of that, and what you can do now is slide to the right and you'll get access to your widgets, and if you slide to the left, you'll get quick access to the camera. Now I'm not gonna go over all the iOS 10 features. I did a video on it and I'll place that in the link in the description down below. The fifth thing I want to talk about is the brand new colors. Apple got rid of space gray and brought in two different colors of black. There's matte black, which is the one I have here, which I personally feel is the best looking color. It has a very nice stealth look to it. And there's a new black called jet black, which is very shiny, attracts fingerprints, and scratches really easily. Now the good thing about the new black colors is with the antenna lines being placed on the top now, it blends in with the phone and you really don't see it at all. So this brings me to the sixth thing that I like about the iPhone 7 Plus, and it's the fact that it now has two cameras on the back. One of them is the same 12 megapixel sensor that's on the regular iPhone 7, but now has an aperture of f1.8. So what this means is that you're gonna get better low light performance and you're gonna get more depth of field. But there's also another 12 megapixel sensor right beside it that lets you take telephoto photos. So what this means is that if you're taking photos with your main sensor and you want to zoom in a little bit more, you can do that by going up to 2 times with the second lens. And the last thing that I really like about the 7 Plus has to be the display. Now I know it's still using a 1080p display, which I'll get to in a second, but the one thing I like about the new display is that there's now a 25% bigger or wider color gamut. And I tested this out by placing it next to my iPhone 6s Plus, and you can definitely tell the screen on the 7 Plus has brighter colors, more vibrant images, because there's more colors to work with. Now, is it a significant difference? No, but it's definitely a noticeable one. And this brings me into the first thing that I don't like about the iPhone 7 Plus, and that's the fact that it's still using a 1080p display. Now the battery life on the 7 Plus is better than the 6s Plus. I'm probably getting an extra hour use than I did before, which is what Apple said it would, but I feel they could have put a QHD display to get sharper images and more vibrant colors. And the second thing I don't like about the iPhone is the design. This is the same stale design they've had for the past 3 years. Don't get me wrong, it was a beautiful phone 3 years ago, but today compared to Samsung and the Galaxy Note 7, when it's not blowing up, it just looks stale in comparison. How is it that Samsung can make a 5.7-inch device, have an audio jack, have a stylus, and a bigger screen that's edged, and still make it easier to hold than a 5.5-inch phone from Apple? And that leads me to the last thing about the iPhone 7 Plus, and that's no headphone jack. And I knew we knew this was coming. I just think this shouldn't have happened right now because the reasons Phil Schiller gave on stage were pretty weak. They said they needed the space to add in more stuff, but when you open up the phone or tear it apart like iFixit did, there's actually nothing there where the audio jack used to be. Now I know in the future we can do a lot more with a digital format, like a lot of cool features with hearables and stuff like that. But I think right now it just wasn't the right time. Now I gotta carry around a dongle or be forced to use Bluetooth, which is fine when I'm going to the gym, but when I'm not going to the gym, I don't wanna use Bluetooth because the audio quality is not nearly as good as a good pair of headphones. So that wraps up the things I like and don't like about the iPhone 7 Plus. Now to answer the question on whether or not you should upgrade from the 6S Plus and to the 7 Plus. And I think it's quite obvious, the answer is no. The benefits of the 7 Plus are not that significant to justify the upgrade. And this holds true if you're jumping the ship from Android to iOS. I really think it's worth saving the money and getting the 6S Plus and having that audio jack for one more year before Apple redesigns their phone than just jumping and buying the iPhone 7 Plus. The benefits, again, are not that significant. So that pretty much wraps up my first impressions and what I like and don't like about the iPhone 7. And as I said before, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and have notifications on for my full review. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And as always, I will see you in the next video.